Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dharma practitioners, our human life is kind of like a walking time bomb. So it always ticking. And any time it can come to its final moment. And no one knows when it happened, and no one can guarantee where it can happen. So it always keep ticking, and we are little by little getting closer to it. There is no anyone can fix this and stop this time bomb. Somehow one day, somewhere, it's going to happen. So then you should know, in certain way, we are helpless. Why we are helpless? It doesn't matter whatever the science, technology, machines that we have. It doesn't matter whatever the skillful people around us. But no one can stop this time bomb. And we all going to experience it one day. When you know about it, when you reflect on it, when you recognize that, and you become more and more energetic person to work yourself and get the best out of this life. And even we go to another place and born again, we come with that the same time bomb. So that death we cannot prevent. So we have to accept it. You don't need to neglect about it. You always have to reflect on it. And when we reflect on that, and sometimes people think about the samsara, behavior of the samsara, nature of the samsara. And what we know about samsara, the most people know about the samsara thinking it is this earth. Samsara is not the earth that you see or experience. And sometimes when it comes to the life, and some people knows only this human body, they count as life. But it is more and more advanced than you think. And understanding about it a little bit and observing yourself, recognizing it, will help you to get out of it. And before the Buddha attained to the Buddhahood, and in many occasions himself, he used to observe the very nature and the reality of life. And then he saw the very basic fundamental qualities in this all, is behavior of the mind, and in the outside world, the four elements: heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So then you have to remember that through the meditation, especially with the Vipassana meditation, it's trying to take us to that level to understand that. Until Buddha come to the very clear recognition of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, he didn't declare the Buddhahood. But once he clearly understood, that is the day that he declared that I became the Buddha. And so then when it comes to this enlightenment path, rather than developing this conventional understanding and depending on this conventional, conditional understanding, you have to remember when it comes to Dharma, we look in a different kind of a spectrum, in a different way, in different method. It is a different path, but to get into that path, basically, you have to go through the conventional way. So it is two different things, but at the same time, you need this both. Rejecting, criticizing, stay away from the conventional life, conventional knowledge. You cannot go into the other side. But at the same time, holding into the grasping and clinging into the conventional wisdom, that way also you cannot go to the other side. So then you have to understand this both. And what you gain, what you clinging as this conventional knowledge. Because you clinging to the behavior of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. When it comes to deeply, there are three kinds of behaviors. So if you look into the very carefully, with the greed, the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, so then it deeply connects with the mind or the behavior of your mind or the brain or your heart. And that behavior, that connection, create this all the outcome that you experience as life. So when it comes to the life, remember, it is the behavior of mind. And when it comes to the samsara, that also the behavior of the mind, not the earth. The existence happening according to the behavior of the mind. So the mind depends on the four elements. So when you are able to recognize this both mind and the four element behavior of the four elements, it brings the clarity to the in the bottom level of the existence or the life or the nature. So mostly we know about when it comes to the Dharma, sometimes people say it is nature. So what is the mean by nature? So then people talk about this, all the things that they see in this outside world. But they don't see our mental behavior. So when it comes to the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, you have to remember this everything depends on that behavior. So then the Buddha mentioned that he used to observe and see three qualities in this heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. What are those? First one is aswada. There is a kind of like a pleasurable moment. There is an outcome with each heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. And it always have the have a kind of like the moment that bring some kind of positivity or negativity. This both. This both has a quality called the aswada. Aswada, another way, is the way you feel. The way you enjoy in mentally, in physically, that's another way, it's aswada. But when it comes to the bigger word, bigger interpretation, this all the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, each and every time it always happening with this aswada. So that's mean when it comes to the sun. So it always bringing the heat. So that the aswada, that in that heat, two things. So there are three things. So the one is that when you become too closer, it brings the aswada, that means it brings the heat. Then the aswada become more unpleasant. And if you are far away from the sun, then that way also you feel cold, and that also bring the unpleasant. So, but if you find the right place, not too far, not too close, then you feel the comfort. So that also aswada. So the aswada has three degrees. One is higher, lower, and middle. It is not the middle path, but these three different ways it behaves. So whatever that all the like, dislike, neutral, these things come that way. So whatever to your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, through the perception, through the mind, that whatever you experience, you always experience in these three levels of feeling. Maybe higher, lower, middle. Three different ways of the aswada with the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So the behavior of the hardness, if it is become stronger, then as a result of that, what will happen? The aswada can change. So your feelings can change. So according to the behavior of heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, if it is become minus, lower, and that way also your feelings change. And according to the behavior of the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, if it is come to the right place, then the feelings you feel comfortable. So then remember that whatever you feel, that all feelings come as a result of the behavior of four elements. So the thing is this, when you feel something comfortable, joyful, you don't see inside that feeling, that how the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness behave. You don't see the condition of your mind because you are so busy with the feelings. And when you have the aswada, and not only that, then the Buddha mentioned he went deeper and observe more. And not only the aswada, there is another one called adinava. So the adinava means result, counteraction. It's like when you have the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness, it brings the three kind of feelings, higher, middle, and the lower. So when the mind able to get into one thing, higher, middle, or the lower, any feelings, as a result of that mental clinging, what happens? There is a result happening. So that is the adinava. So that also behavior of the four elements. So then there is no any four element can exist without counteraction. So then your feelings arise according to the four elements, and even when the mind able to hold that, clinging to it, and as a result of that, what will happen? There is a counteraction going to come. So then, not only that, there is another quality. What the Nissarana. Nissarana is another way. Don't depend on the feelings. You are not depend on that. The whatever you feel, the whatever the with the four elements. When the mind not depend on the four elements, mind itself liberate. So then your mind means, your life means, even your dharma, even your samsara means still you have your mind depend on the four elements. With the feelings, ideas related to the heat, motion, liquidity, and hardness. So when the mind comes to the point not to depend on, that what happened on the four elements, and that freedom not going to create a counteraction. That means adinava. So when the mind able to come to that point, you recognize things and it's still the four elements there, it's happening, but whatever happens, you see it, but mind, you're not going to clinging to that feelings. When you are not clinging to that feelings anymore, there is not the outcome, and the other thing is you become free from the four elements. Once you become free from four elements, you become free from samsara. You become free from existence. So then the samsara or the existence itself is another way, the behavior of the thoughts. Why? Because we have behavior always clinging to feelings or the ideas or the thoughts. And even then the thinking about the samsara, and we have a mental image about it. Even about the nibbana, we have mental images about the nibbana. So from where that mental images came to you? From the four elements. So then that the vipassana is the method, the science that you develop. You rescue your mind from these four elements, the dependency of these four elements. Because mind is always a debtor, that become kind of like mind depend on the four elements. In always when you like or dislike, happy or unhappy, sad or worried, there always you depend on four elements. Why? Because this entire body came out of the four elements. But this everything will disappear for a certain moment. Now, when you get old, that maybe, as a child, even as a, teenager, young age, that husband, wife, when you touch like this, you feel good. But when you get old, I used to be with some, a lot of old monks one time. And when you touch, they don't feel. So it happened to you also, that what you feel today, maybe you feel so good with it. But by the time when you get old, even your own husband, your own wife, your own children, touch your own body, you don't feel that. It is not there. You don't know it. Why? Because the hardness and the heat change. And you may not going to hear any single word from all your loved ones, whoever around you. And even they will not hear anything from you. You cannot bring any sound out of you. Behavior of the air. When the behavior of the air change, the outcome, what we experience, change. And all the mobility that we have, this going to completely different, and this become kind of like a piece of wood. It cannot move. Maybe 2-3 people you need to even turn to the other side. When you lie down, you cannot sit yourself. You need the help. So you have that. Why? Because the behavior of the liquidity and it hold the motion. So then you have to understand that all this eyesight, that everything, that whatever you see, it completely going to become different. And most of time when I go, I have been with the people, whoever going to die, the most of people told one thing. They tell, I feel afraid. I'm afraid. And if I ask for what, they don't. They cannot even understand that why this fear comes. They just have the fear. Because the very nature of the fear, it blocks everything. It blocks all your understanding. That's why the undisturbed mind you develop, this you practice every day. It helps you. Even this everything disappears, it helps you. You may think, what is this monk is, every day he nuts that he having crazy, every day that he eats. That is the only thing that helps for you, end of this all. So most of people say they have fear. Why? Because now even look, their own life, their own body not responding. They cannot feel, they cannot hear, they cannot see. So then everything go up and down. So that's why that fear comes, because you didn't develop that inner foundation with the recognition of the undisturbed mind. So this meditation slowly will take you there. And deeply to see with the vipassana, the bottom of this all, the behavior of your thoughts, hold the power. That's it. That's it. Once the mind get out of the 4 elements, that means any kind of dependency from the 4 elements, you You ready to become free. That is the day that someone can stop this time bomb inside you anymore. It deactivate. It cannot, you know, it cannot happen. Have you seen sometimes, there are some movies, in the last moment, everybody work, and maybe 1 second, 2 seconds, somehow it work and, stop. So this is remember yourself. There's no way somebody else can come and help for you. We all, everybody that you see around the world, billion people, and all living beings, carry this time bomb. So the Vipassana is a method to deactivate that. But that sometimes, some people themselves, they put the time bomb and they themselves go and blow out. They enjoy it. So most of us kind of like, like that. We enjoy that ourselves. We ourselves put it again and again and again to us. We want it as soon as possible. So like that different behavior. So it is according to the choice. So, but deeply you have to remember yourself. You are helpless. So this is the method that you go. So then in the very first level, remember, don't advertise your life. Don't advertise your ego. Sometimes even within ourselves, we try to advertise. And sometimes we use our husband, we use our wife, we use our children, we use our properties, we use our cars, we use our valuable things, we use our makeup, we use our ornaments, we use our jewelries, we use our skills to advertise our own ego or the self. We like to advertise our time bomb. We trying to hold it to that, and not only ourselves, we try to bring other people around that. But when you come to understand this true nature within yourself, your mind becomes completely free from any kind of dependency. And that is the day you gain the ultimate freedom. So then remember, if you're depending mentally with something, any feelings, ideas, if you always go with it, maybe in that very moment you feel the comfort, you feel the joy, you feel the satisfaction. But remember, that joy, that satisfaction, that comfort will take you to something else. Why? Aswada adinava. Because just by aswad, it's not going to keep you there. It's going to take you to something. Then always remember, as a principle, method, what you feel, what you enjoy, it always take you to something else, which you don't know what it is. And Nissarana, there is another method that you always need to become like that way. The Nissarana, when you become mindful, aware, recognize this. And you have another choice, not to respond to that feelings, or not to respond to that desire, not to respond to that joy. In that level, what will happen, whatever the outcome, going to change that according to that recognition. So that way, in the deeper level, that you get out of the unknown outcome. That means you get out of the unknown samsara. You get out of the unknown future. And that is where you gain the confidence, satisfaction. And when you have that satisfaction, and there is nothing can challenge for that. And then, so when whatever the Adinava arise, Aswada arise with the feelings, why you should not respond to that? It is not because of the fear. You should not respond to that. You should not go with it. You should not clinging to it because it is not permanent. It's not going to be forever. It's not going to be there. That whatever you see as happiness or the satisfaction, it is not there. And there's no self. It is selfless. It never happens because of you. We think, oh, it happened because of me. You know, oh, it happened, it did because of me. So like that. But nothing happened in your body, even in your own body, because of you. It happened according to the necessary conditions. That's why when you get old, your own husband, your own wife, your own children, your own parents, even they touch, it's not there. It's not there. Because it happened according to the necessary conditions. When the conditions disappear, the whatever you gain as a result, also the change. So that's why you should not clinging to things. You should not hold it to things. You should not grasping the desire because it is impermanent. And it has unsatisfactory nature and selfless. When the mind comes to the point very clearly, recognize those three things, the mind become more stronger, stronger, not to clinging to things or the feelings or the desire. That is the moment mind become free from four elements. Once the mind become free from the four elements or the behavior of the thoughts or the samsara or the existence, that is the day you gain your liberation, your transformation, the ultimate bliss of Nibbana. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatantarayo sukhi dīghāyuko bhava. Ittavata ca amnihi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe deva numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta numodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idam me punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.